So I, 27 female, was estranged from my deceased sister for 5 years after she had an affair with my fiance that I found out about and resulted in a pregnancy. I cut them out of my life and declared them dead to me. They had a child who's now a preschooler. I'm not sure exactly how old. I've never met the child. I never wanted to meet the child or be in their life. My parents knew their grandchild and supported the child while my sister and ex were alive. They were on and off after I left him. I heard from friends that their breakups were quite explosive. When they died in a car accident recently, people were shocked, but also kind of not, because many people assumed they were arguing and didn't focus on the road. So their child went into foster care. My parents tried to take them, but were denied for health and mobility. The child's paternal relatives didn't want to take the child. No surprises there. So my parents turned to me. I'm now engaged again to Luke, and we bought our forever home last year. We were stable and happy, and my parents believed that we should take their grandchild. I told them I would not be a good fit to raise the child, and I was sorry, but that was the end of the discussion. And as far as I was concerned, Luke told them he was with me on that. My parents went behind my back to try and talk him into it, but he told me and I told them to stop. They begged me again to reconsider and said, imagine how nice it would be to know my nibbling, to get to be there, to have a child who's part of our family, kept in our family, and raised lovingly around people who want the best for them. I told them that's not a job for me and to let it go. A few days went by and I thought they might have let it drop. Then they called me and told me to think about how good it will look for me, the betrayed sister and ex-fiance, to have enough love and compassion to raise the child that was conceived out of said betrayal and love them and be the best mom to that child who could exist. They said people would think I'm a saint and would always think of me as an incredible person. I told them I'm no saint and I don't want to be a saint. I don't need to be seen as some incredible, amazing person. I'm not going to raise their grandchild just to look good to other people, and they need to stop asking me to. They told me I was heartless and asked how I could not care at all about a child who's my own flesh and blood and who's been tossed around the system in just a few weeks because, according to them, the child has been in 4 homes already. They said I shouldn't be able to turn my back on family like this, and I should have more compassion for them, who were told by CPS that they wouldn't be allowed to raise their grandchild. Am I the idiot? OP, you are not the idiot. My youngest is adopted by a family member of mine. We were all in the day we knew we could be, and it's hard. We love him. He completed our family in a way we didn't know we needed, but it's not in any way easy to adopt a child from family. Taking on a child should only ever be done if you're 1000% in it. I know it sounds harsh, but you owe the child nothing. Their parents did them a huge disservice, not planning for a guardianship and a will. That's not on you to sort out. Raising a child you resent is not the right thing, no matter the circumstances. I'm not naive to the foster system. Most of my cousins and family spent much time in it, and we've been foster parents. But truly, you'd be doing that child a disservice if you took them in from guilt. It would be insulted by the fact that they think you should do it to look good. Exactly. OMG, that they even suggested what others think might be a possible motivation. I can't imagine a betrayed ex to be a good stepmother for an orphan child, at least when the person went no contact with the family of that betrayal. Sounds more like the ideal setup for an evil stepmother. As sad as it is, having the child at home reminds you of your ex and sister's betrayal and their death. I'm sorry for the grief they're putting you through. Apologies, as I don't mean to be unsympathetic, but wow, OP, your parents may be lying to you about not being able to adopt. That's got to be pretty severe medical restrictions to be turned down for kindred care, and in some cases, they would qualify for assistance care if they take in the child. Our neighbors are in their late 60s, and they both are partly disabled. He's an amputee, and they're raising young grandkids. Something in your parents' story doesn't add up. I am female 42, and have 3 children, male 25, female 18, and female teen. This situation concerns my son and his wife. About 5 years ago, my husband of 17 years, together for 26, passed away. It was very heartbreaking and hard for my children. For the past 4 years, my main focus has been on my children and working so I can support them. However, that has changed in the past 6 months because I've been seeing someone I met at a work event. I wasn't looking to rush anything, but he stayed by my side despite being rejected several times. Even though we're together, I clarified that I wasn't interested in getting married or our families meeting each other anytime soon, which he agreed with. Anyway, yesterday my partner decided to take me out. He treated me to dinner and took me shopping at little boutiques, which was incredibly kind of him. While I was spending time with him, my daughter-in-law saw me without my knowledge, and it was evident that this man was my partner. When I came home, I saw my son and daughter-in-law in the living room waiting for me. They immediately confronted me and kept asking several questions about who my partner was. I was upfront and told them I'd been seeing him for the past 6 months, which resulted in a huge argument, with my son telling me that I was betraying his father. I yelled that I wouldn't spend the rest of my life alone because he didn't like the idea of me dating someone who wasn't his father. I then told them that what I do with my life is not their concern, as I'm an adult, and who I date or go out with isn't their concern. This caused them to leave and complain to my late husband's mother, who has never liked me and is now calling me very rude names. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. If they don't like that you have a new partner, spend every evening and every weekend at your sons and daughter-in-law's so you won't be alone. Just get involved in their love life and return the favor. The intruding way. Ask how many date nights they have, who gets presents, how often, does she go to the hairdresser before, does he wear a suitable cologne, etc. See if they like getting scrutinized and controlled. Ask daughter-in-law's mother about her personal love life as well. They'll end up begging you to be with your partner. They need the same energy they're putting out. Also, OP fulfilled her marriage vows. Why is it not okay to seek a companion? If, God forbid, your daughter-in-law passed away, would your son stay single for the rest of his life? I doubt it. He can have feelings for you moving on, but those feelings are his to handle. You haven't done anything wrong. You can move on and be happy. Her husband has been gone for 5 years. It's a huge double standard, especially when children are involved. And for me, it stems from traditional, outdated family roles. Men are encouraged to find a new partner who will give their kids the motherly love they're missing out on. Women are expected to put all their focus on their children, and their spending time in the dating realm is seen as putting themselves before their children. So I, teen male, am on vacation with my family. The people on the trip are me, my parents, my Aunt Jen, and my cousins, Oliver, tween, and Luna, young grammar school. My mom is super airline savvy, so she managed to get us all seated together in a line. My parents and I were on one side of the aisle, and my aunts and cousins were across from us. Anyway, I brought my tablet, which I bought with my own money, on the flight, so I could watch Netflix, as it was a pretty long flight. About 20 minutes after takeoff, Luna starts fussing with her mom about something. I turn up the volume on my headphones. Then I feel a tap on my shoulder from Luna, who has the aisle seat. I'm also in the aisle seat. Dialogue is rough since my memory isn't the best. Luna: "Hey, mommy said I can play on your tablet. Give it to me." Me: "No, I'm using it right now. If you ask nicely when I'm done with my episode." Luna: "But she said I could." Me: "I don't care." Luna: Huff: "Mommy, I can play with my name's tablet, right?" Jen: "That's right, honey." Luna: "See? She said so." Me: "It's my tablet, not your mom's. She can't make me give it to you like she can with Oliver. Now leave me alone." I then put my headphones back on and turned the volume up again, drowning out any more whining. About 20 minutes later, my dad taps me on the shoulder and asks if my episode is over. because my cousins are getting pretty noisy and my aunt needs a break. I can definitely hear both of them whining and borderline yelling at my aunt that they're bored. Here's where I might be the idiot. I decided that I wanted to keep watching my show and that entertaining my cousins wasn't my job. I say that if Luna can ask nicely, she and Oliver can play for 10 minutes, knowing full well that Luna won't ask nicely because she's spoiled. Jen, hey, Luna, ask my name nicely if you can play. Luna, my name, can I play? Me, what's the magic word? Luna, give it. Me, sorry, that's not the magic word. You don't get to play. I put my headphones back on and turned the volume back up, keeping it that way for the rest of the flight, save for a few times when my parents asked me to give my cousins another chance, to which I said no. After the flight, my mom said that what I did was petty and made things unnecessarily difficult for my aunt on the flight. I know what I did was petty, but does it make me an idiot? Not the idiot. Your aunt is teaching your cousins to be entitled, and your parents are enabling her. Good job for standing your ground. Seriously, what sane person brings two young kids on a flight without having a carry-on bag full of activities? Tablet, handheld video games, books, coloring books, card games, travel-sized board games. So many options. Someone needs to teach Auntie J and her kids some manners. How does Aunt J think she can give permission to use something that isn't hers? And Luna hasn't a clue about politely asking. Well, how would she? Her mom can't teach her how to behave because she doesn't know how to herself. Good on you for showing them that their tactics don't work. Yes, this was my observation too. Aunt J doesn't have boundaries, and Luna hasn't learned how to be polite or execute good manners. Bad manners should not be rewarded. OP, ask your parents why they didn't hand over their smartphones to make your aunt's flight easier if it was so important to them. Let's start with some context. I'm renting a room in a 4-bedroom house. Life's difficult right now, and this is the best I can afford. The other 3 rooms are occupied by people I didn't know before moving in, each paying their own rent, including a couple that sleeps in the larger room. Since the house is shared, we have free access to the shared spaces, like the kitchen and lounge, and we try to respect each other. One relevant thing is that the couple and a person in another room were already friends before moving in, so they spend much time together and do stuff for each other. All is good with me. I'm out most of the day working, and usually, when I cook dinner for myself, I cook a bit extra to take to work the next day and save some money. For example, the other day, I had some chicken breast cut into bits, seasoned with some lemon herbs, and left to marinate. Fry that up with some veggies, add some noodles, and it's a pretty decent meal. On this particular occasion, my coworkers had planned a team lunch for the next day, so there was no point in me cooking that usual extra. Since the marinated chicken smelled pretty good, I thought it would taste even better the following day when I cooked it for dinner again. I got a bowl, placed it all there, covered it with cling film, and left it in the refrigerator, where my refrigerator stuff usually is. We do this so everyone knows who owns what in the refrigerator. Never thought about it again. The following day when I got home, a couple of people from the other rooms were kind of waiting for me in the lounge and just started screaming at me. So the girl from the couple I mentioned earlier is a sleepwalker, and that has never been a major issue until now, save from the occasional noise during the night, but nothing that could be considered annoying. You might see where this is going, though. Last night she got up, still sleeping, walked to the kitchen, opened the refrigerator, and helped herself to a spoonful of marinated chicken. She then went back to bed, where she eventually felt ill and had to be taken to the hospital. Now they're acting like it's my fault, because since I know she's a sleepwalker, I should be more careful with stuff like this and not leave the uncooked chicken on the refrigerator like that. I never thought that that would be a problem. As I said before, we have specific areas for each of us, and we try to be mindful of what we leave there. The chicken was properly covered, and it wouldn't be a problem in any other circumstance. I tried to argue this, but now they want me to apologize to her and help to pay for the hospital bill, which, to be honest, I really don't feel like I should. Plus, I'm down one meal, as the rest of the chicken was just thrown out, and I was really looking forward to it. Not the idiot. Oh wow, that didn't go as I expected. She needs help with her sleepwalking. It's completely normal to marinate raw chicken in the fridge, assuming you're following food safety, and it sounds like you were. However, it is not normal to eat it while sleepwalking. If she was sleepwalking, how does anyone know she had a spoonful and wrapped it back up? Are you supposed to cook all raw meat immediately upon purchasing it, since you don't know how picky sleepwalkers will be when they raid the fridge? This is all BS. She probably only went to the hospital because she was paranoid after realizing what she ingested after she stole some. By this logic, no laundry detergent, dish soap, hand soap, cleaning sprays, etc. should be stored in the house. Who knows what she might eat? I would definitely expect them to reimburse you or replace your chicken breast, and they should be talking to her sleep doctor about addressing issues caused by sleepwalking. If, as I suspect, that's a BS excuse, she messed around and found out. Diddums. This happened at a potluck. I brought a tofu dish, stir-fried with minced pork, ginger, and spring onions. Similar to mapo tofu, but not spicy. Everything was fine, except when someone asked me if my dish was halal. I said no, it has pork. That's when Jen overheard and freaked out that she ate meat. And it turns out many other vegetarians ate my dish, assuming it was vegetarian. For the rest of the party, I had so many people, including non-vegetarians, tell me I was an idiot for putting meat in a vegetarian dish. But this is a dish I grew up with. Tofu for me is just an ingredient, not strictly a meat substitute. Also, no one asked me if my dish was vegetarian. So, am I the idiot? Or are people just overreacting? Edit. Nothing was labeled. I just left the dish on the buffet table along with the rest of the dishes. There were many other meat dishes. About 20 people were at the party. 4 were vegetarian. No one asked about my dish, except for the person asking if it was halal. They assumed it was a vegetarian dish because they had a weird misconception that tofu exists only for vegetarians. That they didn't bother to ask is on them. You are not the idiot. Chinese tofu dishes and other vegetable dishes often contain pork to add flavor. It's not your fault they didn't know that, and I bet they've accidentally eaten pork at Chinese food places since they didn't know. Absolutely. I'm a vegetarian and made the mistake of not asking when I ordered a tofu dish from a very traditional Chinese restaurant. The menu was predominantly in a Chinese dialect, with only the briefest description in English. I didn't blame the restaurant. I just ordered something different and paid for both dishes. It's not anyone's fault that I didn't ask first. That's the mature way to deal with it. I've been a vegetarian for 15 years. How do you not notice pork of all things in a dish? It's ridiculous if you get angry for just assuming something doesn't contain meat. You can be disgruntled, disappointed, or a bit disgusted, but most of all, you should take it as a lesson to ask next time and pay more attention. Anyway, I live in an extremely health-conscious area and know several people with allergies, so I've started to list ingredients with dishes that I bring to potlucks. I do that when bringing food for large groups. I make some vegan cake, usually, make a flag label out of freezer labels and cocktail sticks, list all ingredients with the known allergens in caps and underlined. Simples. Luckily, I was nearby when someone said they'd have a piece of the vegan sponge cause they need gluten-free. I shouted across that it was not gluten-free. My label clearly showed wheat flour on it. What more can you do if folks won't ask and don't read the labels provided? Dear God, you'd think someone who needs to eat gluten-free would know it's different from vegan. But then again, some people seem to be allergic to common sense. My dad, a widower, married Jane, a widow, when I, 18 male, was 8. Jane had a daughter, Lucy, who's 10 weeks younger than me. Because we were so close in age, my dad and Jane found it fun to call us twins and to jokingly talk about us as though we were a pair. Lucy and I got along okay at first, but she always had anxiety and mental health issues and latched on to me. She confessed to me a few times that she liked being called my twin because it meant we would always be together, and I would always act like a big brother to her. I used to find how she talked really weird. I tried not to let it come between us, but when we were 12, she told me to forget my mom existed because it meant a bigger family for her. I started to pull away from her. The reason she said it? She felt I should appreciate that having a bigger family with a sibling made her feel more secure. Her words annoyed me, and I lost all interest in caring about her then. Over the years, I told Dad and Jane that their calling us twins bothered me. They brushed it off. Sometimes Jane would act annoyed, and maybe she was offended that it bothered me so much. It made me feel trapped. I said this in family therapy. We all did, and they were unhappy that I was ignoring Lucy by then and refusing to spend time with her as siblings or as friends. Family therapy was crappy. I began counting down the days until graduation, and 4 years later, on the day of my graduation, I moved out of state with my maternal grandmom and granddad for the summer. I also changed my college plans without telling my dad, and I'll be going to community college and working. Lucy and I were meant to be going to the same college. She's moving out soon. She'll be living on campus. Lucy wanted to come to stay with me for a while before, and for me to help her adjust to life away from home. Dad asked me about it when I didn't reply to Lucy. I told him my grandparents would not let her live here, and I didn't want to leave. We argued over it. I revealed I had changed my college plans. He brought up the twin thing and said I had sacrificed Lucy's college experience. I told him that I was not a twin, never was a twin, and I wasn't willing to sacrifice my college experience for her. I told him I didn't care if this meant she won't be able to make it through college. I'm not her keeper. I'm not her friend, and I'm not going to take responsibility for her. My dad and Jane are angry. Lucy sent me a long text asking why I pulled away from her and why I won't be the big brother she needs. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You aren't her emotional support human. That situation seems like a nightmare for actual twins. I can't imagine how weird and annoying that would be with a regular sibling, let alone a step-sibling. Your parents really ruined it for both of you. I hope in the future, Lucy will understand and try to respect your boundaries, because there's no hope for a sibling relationship without that realization on Lucy's end. Emotional support human? Brilliant. You don't fix anxiety by putting a Band-Aid on it. She needs to be able to function on her own. Your dad and stepmom aren't going to live forever, and you can't be your stepsister's keeper 100% of the time through adulthood. Given her age, Lucy needs to learn to stand on her own 2 feet and not rely on her as a crutch. Good grief, your father and stepmother are so delusional. Tell father he needs to go to therapy with his new family and to leave you alone. This is like the makings of a horror film. If I were you, I would have stopped talking to her the moment she told me I should forget my mom. Honestly, I wouldn't blame you if you decided to go no contact with your dad and his wife/daughter. Well, I have empathy for Lucy. She has crippling anxiety. She should have received intense individual therapy for it, rather than having OP have to deal with it. Something's causing that anxiety, and she deserves to have it dealt with so she can live a normal, independent life. Great you have your grandparents backing you up. Good luck with college. I hope you get your freedom and happiness away from this toxic mess. I, a teen female, am the only child in my household who does not call my dad's wife mom. I have 2 bio siblings, and I have 4 step siblings. Mine and my brother's mom died when I was 5. The oldest step sibling never knew her father. My other 3 step siblings' dad still plays a role in their lives, but was never big on the oldest, and eventually my stepmom left him for that reason. My siblings call stepmom mom, since they only know her as their mom. The oldest stepsister calls dad that because she never had one, and he was willing. The younger 3 call him that because they're not fond of their bio father. But I've never called my stepmom mom. I was only 5 when she and my dad moved in together, 5 months after my mom died. She's okay, but I don't love her like that, and I don't want her to be my mom. I have some memories of my mom and I find it disrespectful. She's told me before that it's never disrespectful, and if I had a baby one day, wouldn't I want them to never be without a mom? I told them they'd always have a mom, whether I was dead or alive, and I wouldn't want them calling someone else mom. She told me I was too young to get it, so I should just follow the flow of the household and start calling her mom. My dad and stepmom met with my school about my IEP, and there it was brought up that she was my stepmom because I tell teachers at school and my aide, always did, but I guess it was brought up for some reason, and they hated it. So they sat me down and said if I don't call her mom, then they'll try to accept it, although they think she's earned that title after all these years. They said at least stop saying dad and stepmom and start saying parents. I told them no. When I say parents, I mean my mom and dad, not dad and stepmom. Dad told me I was being a difficult little idiot and asked why I insisted on punishing my stepmom for mom's death. I said it's not punishing her, it's doing what feels right to me, just like the other kids do what feels right to them. He told me he doesn't care what I feel is right. They say what is right as an adult. Stepmom said my unwillingness to work with them and compromise drives her crazy. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She has the right to have hurt feelings if she raised you and treated you the same as her other children. But hurt feelings still don't give her the right to tell you to lie. Her feelings are not more important than your feelings. And as an adult, she should understand that. You don't feel like she's your mom. Therefore, calling her your mom is an untruth. And why would you lie to people? Agree. No step-parent has the right to demand a title from you. That's earned. I love my father's wife, but they married after I was grown, and I've never lived with them. She's never been any kind of mother to me. I just call her by her first name, and we're cool. My little brother was still a preteen when they got married, and he called her stepmom, even though he lived with them full time. She's fine with that too. It amazes me how many stories are about this issue. Crazy. How's calling her mom a compromise on their part? You can't force what you don't feel, so why lie about it? No one has the right to dictate your feelings. Your father's wrong. Would he be okay with someone replacing him? And what he said about your feelings not mattering and him being right because he's an adult is absolute horse crap. Your feelings are important and matter. Even if they forced you to call her what they want, would it even count if it's not coming from the heart? They should be happy you're honest with them about your feelings. My entire family was invited to my parents' home for dinner. That included me, 38 male, my wife, Amy, 35, our 2 sons, pre-tween and a little younger, my sister, Charlotte, 29, her wife, Hannah, 32, and their son, kindergartner. My mom, 60, has horrible arthritis in her knees. I work as a nurse, and I've heard a lot about a specific supplement that apparently helps people with arthritis a lot. So I bought that for my mom to help her a bit. Hannah's a doctor. She heard Mom and I talking about these pills. She just looked at the ingredients and said none of these were backed by scientific evidence. She suggested it would be a waste of money in the long run, as effective as a placebo at best. She has a complex sense of superiority and thinks she knows everything there is to know. Charlotte usually sides with her, so there's no problem normally. This time I said no. I've heard and seen people take this, and it helps them. She said that still doesn't mean there's scientific evidence behind it. She said it could also damage Mom's liver if taken too much. I told her to please not give any unsolicited advice and let the rest of us live life how we want. Not everything has to be evidence-based all the time. It's just a supplement. She got a bit upset and ignored me the entire night. Was what I said an idiot move? OP, it sounds like you have a complex sense of inferiority. Not everything has to be evidence-based all the time? With medicine and meds, I think you do want evidence-based stuff. Good Lord. Your sister-in-law is trying to save your mom from potential liver damage and taking unprescribed supplements, which can interfere with prescription meds and over-the-counter meds. Why would you shut down a well-meaning doctor and family member giving safe advice in such a rude manner? Why should only your opinion count? You are the idiot. Let's see. You bring the latest snake oil to your mother. A doctor looks at the ingredients and identifies them as quackery with potentially damaging ingredients. You tell her to butt out because you know better. Yes, you are the idiot. Why don't you bring your mother something from homeopathy? It's just as effective, but at least it's harmless. You're spot on. You have to be very careful with supplements when you're on medications. Even safe and harmless things can cause damage when taken with certain meds. Heck, so can some foods. Get off your high horse. Unlike you, Hannah knows what she's talking about. I'm in a bit of hot water regarding Kiara's parents. So my daughter Kelsey, 22 female, and her best friend Kiara, 21 female, have been going out a lot lately, partying, drinking, etc., since Kiara has just turned the legal age and she can go to clubs. All is well and fun. I make sure my daughter knows the risk of drinking and going out, and she doesn't party too hard. I let her know she can always call me if she needs to, and I'll pick them up under any circumstance. The same goes for all of her friends, and I make sure they at least have my contact in their phones. However, her best friend is a different story. I don't think she was ever given the talk about what's safe to do, and she regularly overkills it. I see this when Kelsey brings Kiara to my house and she's intoxicated. Usually, I'll get her a bottle of water and any snacks to help her, and we send her back home to her parents to deal with the consequences. However, this time my daughter lost Kiara in the club. I'm not sure how. Usually they're attached by the hip, but my daughter told me she couldn't find her. My daughter left the club and came home without Kiara. I've talked to her about this. Kiara called me about a half an hour later, saying her battery had died, but she found someone with a charger. Immediately, I left to pick her up. It was quite late, and she sobered up somewhat on the drive, so I took her straight home. Today, Kiara's parents informed me that they no longer felt comfortable allowing her to be at my house. They didn't realize she had my number and felt it was awful that I, a single dad, was alone with her while she had been drinking and took her home. They didn't know why I was alone with her, and Kelsey should have been with us. I explained that my daughter was separated from her and came home. Because she was still intoxicated, I let her recover at home while I dropped their daughter off to them. I reassured them nothing happened, and that the most important thing to me was ensuring Kiara got home safely and was not taken advantage of in a taxi or by someone in the club. They're sending all kinds of messages to my ex-wife about me being a creepo, which she sent to me. I just wanted to be sure both girls were home safe. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Kiara's parents should thank you for caring about their intoxicated daughter. Going forward, have Kiara's parents be responsible for her. It's easy to make comments and blame others when you, Kiara's parents, have no responsibility tied to the situation. And please stay the heck away from her for your own safety. It seems like you've just discovered the deflective parents. They're so crappy that their daughter would rather call someone else than them when she needs to get home. But instead of reflecting on that, they decide to call another human a creepo? They're insane. Their daughter's calling a single man she isn't related to over her parents when she's in emergency need of help. And instead of wondering how the heck they failed so hard as parents, they're like, oh my God, a single man and our daughter. We must stop that. I swear, it tickled me much more than it should have. LMAO. I'd watch out that Kiara's father isn't interested in your daughter, because that's some high-grade projection. You were doing a good thing for her. Thank you for being a good person. Thank you for looking out for your daughter's friend. Thank you for going out of your way to ensure she arrived home safely. My niece, on my husband's side, May, a teen, loves the brand and recognized one of the dresses I wore when we first met. When she comes to visit me, she loves going through my wardrobe and seeing the clothing. For her birthday, the only thing she asked for was a dress from my company. My company is not size inclusive anyway, and the sample size items I pick from are usually extra extra small or extra small. I have seen a few small items, but as the items are given to my whole company, they're the ones that go first. May gave me her measurements, a size which, in my history of 8 years, I've seen twice in the sample sizes, but I go quite late, as my size is usually left. I reminded May that the way we get clothing and its sizing tends to run small, and sometimes other departments see items first, and also asked if she wanted anything else for her birthday, but she only wanted a dress. I asked my coworkers to look for anything in May's size and went earlier to get clothing, but I didn't see anything in her size. I got May a designer dress from a more affordable brand. She thanked me for her gift, but I could tell she was disappointed. Afterward, she found the label inside, which said plus size. My sister-in-law has yelled at me for fat shaming a young girl and said I should be ashamed of myself. But in my eyes, that's just a size, and May's size is healthy for her height. I went over to see May, sat her down, and explained our clothing sizes and the limitations of the samples, but it may have come across as insensitive. She didn't say anything to me and left after. I know now I should have said something about the sizing earlier, but I didn't know how to bring it up, and I had about 7 months to find May's size and thought I would find something, as we tend to get more samples this time of year. Edit. Our clothing is costly and completely unaffordable. Even after my staff discount, I was only getting my niece something from the clothing we get as staff. I couldn't afford to purchase it. May does fit a size that we stock according to our size chart, but it runs small, which is something I communicated. She's only considered plus size in some designer brands, including mine, but is still slender. The clothing we get for free is because it can't go to retail. Loose thread, mislabeled, has a small stain, usually washes out, X-runway or sample sizes. I had no idea the dress I got her said plus size inside, as the tags and online didn't. They don't do her size. That's how the cookie crumbles. It's not nice, but it's life. Not the idiot. What were you supposed to do? Cut the label out of the clothes? If we were talking about shoes and not a dress, this would have been a non-issue. It's the fashion industry, and you're getting free designer clothes. It's a fact that this industry makes sample designs at extra extra small and extra small sizes. You did your best and got her a very nice design in her size. You did right and got her something nice in her size. Her size is her size. What would be the point if you gave her a dress that wasn't her size? As for sister-in-law, if she has issues with how the dress is labeled, she should take it to the company herself. Agree. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's people that label things incorrectly. It's not fat shaming to purchase an article of clothing in the size a person wears. Whether she likes it or not, that's the size she wears. Someone needs to explain to your sister-in-law what fat shaming actually is, because it's obvious she has no clue what it means.